assembling our parts. We just made a pegboard toy and we saved our parts, but now we're going to make an assembly of them. So I'm going to go new, and instead of selecting a part, I'm going to come down here and select a standard assembly. We're still in English, and this one here says assemble 2D and 3D components. So I'm going to click create, and I'm given a blank page here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to place my parts on my assembly. So if I go place, it'll bring me to where I saved my files. Originally, I'm going to go with the round peg. I'm going to place it. It wants me to click. I click on it there. Now, if I wanted to place a second one, I could also click on it there and it would make another peg. I can then click the escape key. And I have two pegs. You see it says round peg 1, round peg 2. I actually only need one round peg. So I'm going to right click on here. I'm going to delete that peg. So I've got one round peg. Now I need my square peg. I'm going to place from my files that I saved. And make sure you save on your drive and not on the computer itself, because then if that computer does not work, you at least have your files and you aren't stuck with having the files on the computer that doesn't work. Lastly, I am going to place my pegboard. Let's see here. Where are we? The pegboard. Okay. And then I'm going to either right click and click OK or click escape in order to place that. Now I have my three parts. I have my pegboard, my round peg, and my square peg. Okay, so that's the first one on page 3. Now we're going to ground this pegboard. And by grounding it, we mean we can't move it around. It's going to stay in place and everything else can move and connect to it. So I'm going to come up here on my pegboard. I'm going to right click. And it's going to open up this huge long list of things to do. So I'm going to scroll down till I found grounded. Okay, now my pegboard is grounded and I can see by the little pin in it that it's grounded. Also, it tends to be blue when it's grounded. Great. Now we need to be able to put this square peg in here so that it moves around only up and down through that hole. Same thing with the round peg. Okay, they're not quite there yet. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, in order to do that, we are going to use what's called a constraint. And we can use this button right here. It says constraint. Okay, it controls the positions and it gives us a nice dialog box that says place constraint. Now our round peg's pretty easy. What we're going to do is we can select different faces. The round peg, it looks like we can select this flat space here, or we can select its axis. And we're going to select its axis, and then we're going to select the axis of the hole. And we're going to click, and you hear that popping sound, which means now this round peg is constrained to the axis of the hole. I'm going to click apply. And now if I go and click cancel. Okay. Now if I go, I cannot move this peg anywhere but in and out of the pegboard where it's supposed to be. So that's in good shape. Now we're going to constrain the square peg. I'm going to click constrain again. Now the square peg's a little more difficult because you're going to have to move the view cube around so that we can see the different faces where we're going to constrain it. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to constrain this face of the peg to this part of the hole right here. Okay, so I'm going to first click on that part of the hole, use my view cube, and I can click on that. Now it's constrained here. I'm going to apply. Now I can still move it around, but it's only constrained to one spot. Now we need to constrain another face of it so that it'll only go in and out of the hole. So I'm now going to constrain this side. So I'm going to hit constrain. I'm going to constrain that part. I'm going to flip my view cube around so I can see. Now I can't because it's blocked. So let's see if I can get another angle. There we go. Get that face. Now I click OK. Now my peg is constrained so that it can only go in and out of that hole. Okay. So now you've got your constraints. You can still move the pegs up and down in your pegboard, but they are constrained to those holes. They cannot move from those holes. Now, another good thing to do would be to change some colors on these. I'm going to select my part and I can go, let's see, default. Let's see, I want to make that gold. So if I click on that, it should make it a gold color. And it's up in the appearance bar up here. Okay, now if I change my peg, I can change my peg. What color do I want my peg to be? I think I want my peg to be orange red. Okay, click, that does that. And I want my square peg to be, let's make it, what did I make it there? Missed on that one. I'm going to make it a sky blue. Okay, so now I have all of my different colors. Now I can see what's going on, but I also need to save it. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and it's going to say Autodesk Assembly. So I'm going to put Pegboard Toy Assembly. Okay, so now I have a Pegboard Toy Assembly, and now you've finished all of page 3.